The purpose of this video is to show the removal of the rear bumper cover of a Toyota Camry 2011. The purpose of the removal is to pop out a dent in the bumper cover that was caused by a hit and run scumbag accident. Some scumbag hit my car and left and dented the rear bumper cover. Here I show the back of the, here I show a detail of the inside once the cover is removed. And same thing on that side. And here's the bumper cover right here. Removal of the bumper cover does take some patience and some care, and I'll share with you how I did it to avoid any damage to the cover or the plastic tabs that hold it in place. They're right in this location. On each side there are two screws on the side, one at the bottom. It's reached with either a Phillips or a 10mm socket wrench, and then one through this oval hole in the center of the screen here in the rear of the wheel well, which is also with a Phillips or 10mm screwdriver. So those are two screws on that side. There's two clips underneath the bumper in the center, and what you do is you pop out the center portion of the clip with a screwdriver, and then the clip will pull out. Don't try to pull the clip out without removing that little plug, without releasing or pulling down that little plug in the center. So there's two of those, two plugs in the middle, and there's also two screws here. This yellow area here and this yellow one here. Those are removed by flipping open a little plastic tab on the bumper in this location here. Those are accessed through that little tab. So on each side then you have three little bolts or three little screws that have to be removed, and in the center two of these plastic tabs. So once you've done that, then go over to one side and remove the little, start disengaging the claws, what Toyota calls disengage the claws. What that means is if you can see here, this is the first one in a series, right here. It's basically a little plastic tab right in the center there that sticks up. That little plastic tab fits into a flattened loop in the fender cover, in the bumper cover. This one is a screw that you removed for the wheel well, right here. And this one is another tab, but you'll notice it's on the top. This one's on the top. That one's on the top. And that one's on the top. These are four. 1, 2, 3, 4. Also on the sides, you have one little tab here that's attached to the metal body, and one here that's attached to the metal body. It's a little tab right there, plastic tab. Just under the light, you do not have to remove the light, but just under the light there's a little plastic extension here, and the fender fits inside that, and there's an upturned flange on the bumper that fits inside that. I'll show you what they look like. Also in the back there's little metal, this is metal now, these are little metal upturned tabs right here. They look like this. There's 1, 2, and then 1 and 2 right there. And for the bumper, it looks like this. Again, this is the rear left. Here's the first tab right here. The way you remove this one is to just lift up a little bit on it and pull it straight out, and then it'll slide over that plastic tab. This is the screw that you unscrewed from the wheel well. These are the other tabs. Now with these, you have to use a metal spatula, either a metal spatula or a small putty knife. Don't use a screwdriver. It's too thick. It won't work. Best way to do it, I found, is to take a piece of black electrical rubber tape and put it over the panel. Feed the edge of the tape in as best you can between the crack between the upper and lower parts of the body. One for the top and a separate piece for the bottom one. This will protect the edge, the paint edge, while you stick a metal instrument in there to disengage the tab. Do not try to pull out on the cover. Don't pull out. If you do, you could break this tab off, mar it, or break the plastic piece off on the body. You need to disengage the tab before you attempt to remove it. It has to be fully disengaged. Here's the inside. It's the same thing. It's just 2 tabs there. The other tricky one is this one under the light. You see there's a flange? There's like a upturned piece right there on the rear bumper that slides in that slot underneath the tail light. So when you take an instrument, you put it in there and you push down on it to disengage that tab. Those metal pieces on the back, on the very back, fit underneath the rear bumper in these areas here. They're like little indents in the plastic of the bumper. So you need to visualize in your mind first exactly how to disengage it. This is where the two plastic plugs fit. Here and here. What I used is these two, a metal spatula or a narrow putty knife. But you need to use that electrical tape. So you need to visualize exactly what you're trying to do before you attempt it. The key is not to get rushed. Take your time and disengage them. So in this one, the first one, then you just lift up on the cover and pull out. That should disengage that first one. That's the screw. This one here, you have to slip the putty knife underneath the extension on the bumper cover to disengage that one. And so on. And so that's what it looks like. The only tricky part is the side panel, using the tape, using tape to protect your paint. And then to get the dent out, what I did was I just put a blanket put a blanket right here and stepped on it and it popped right out. And then I used a hair dryer. To warm up the plastic and smooth it out. I used basically a metal pot from the kitchen to mold the plastic once the plastic was warmed up. A couple of things I noted is a hair dryer heats it up quite a lot, and it can soften quite a lot. You don't want to heat it up too much. So heat it up just a little bit and then mold it with some large metal instrument, like I used a pot. And then I plan on just cleaning this off with soap and then alcohol, and then using touch-up paint from the Toyota dealership, which matches the original pretty well. Don't use paint from an auto parts store. You need the exact paint, or else the results will be poor. And so that's really about it. Repair for this was $1,300, so that's my motivation for doing it myself. And again, thank you to the person out there who left me this little present on returning back from the movies. But I hope this helps somebody else.